Well, let's get over to a segment that we have really come to love, and it's called What's Up, Doc, where we get to spend some time with the fine physicians at Mercy Health, and we learn a lot from them and learn a little bit about them as well. And heart disease continues to be a #1 killer of both men and women in America. Here to explain why we get sick with heart disease and, better yet, ways to prevent and treat effectively is Dr. Montoya Taylor, interventional cardiologist at Mercy Health. Dr. Taylor, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm terrific. How's everything going with you?
Oh, it's a wonderful Thursday, and I look forward to the weekend and, just having a great day.
All right. You and I have that fully in common. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, born and raised in the great southern state of Mississippi. Spent all of my growing up years there. After the age of 22, whenever I completed college at Tougaloo College in Mississippi, HBCU, I then went over to Brown University, and then after finishing medical school, I went to Columbus, Ohio, and trained at The Ohio State University, where I did cardiology, general cardiology, and interventional cardiology.
Outstanding. And you pronounced it, what I'm guessing is the correct way. It's not The Ohio State University, it's The Ohio State University. Am I right?
Correct. We went through a lot of court battles just to get that V in there.
That's true. That's true. And having lived and worked in Columbus for a short period of time, that's a fun place to be. Very
fun. Great zoo, great airport, great people, and also just, like you said, a great, fun college town.
Yeah, and a lot cooler, I think, than a lot of people may realize. So if you get a chance, okay, this is paid for by the Columbus Board of Tourism. All right, let's talk a little bit about what you do. What is an interventional cardiologist?
Well, as the name implies, so interventional cardiology is basically that, most non-invasive physicians, so historically medicine was broken down into surgical versus non-surgical fields. And so in this infancy, and whenever we first got started, cardiology was a diagnostic physician who prescribed medications and diagnosed conditions that affected the cardiovascular system, strokes, MI, peripheral artery disease, and as such. But then as technology and time evolved, we actually began to do interventions, or we would actually diagnose a heart attack and treat a heart attack. So 30 years ago, a cardiologist was a glorified plumber. We basically would open up blockages, mostly in the heart, but also in the leg. And now fast forward to 2020, and you have several different subsets of cardiology, interventional cardiologists. You have historical interventional cardiologists who open up blockages of the heart and sometimes of the leg. You have interventional cardiologists who are peripheral trained and experts, and they open up blockages all the way to the foot. They will also do AAA, or abdominal aortic aneurysm repair work, renal artery stents, even stroke work. And now in the last decade or so, we actually have structural interventional cardiologists. Those are individuals who are doing procedures that have become very commonplace now, such as TAVR, transcatheter aortic valve replacement, percutaneous closure of shunts and holes inside the heart. So it's very similar to our surgical colleagues, except I joke to my friends and I say I can do it in a much cuter fashion and not leave a big scar.
I was going to say, this is not your father's cardiology, is it?
Correct. Yes, it is not.
There's been so many changes, and we talked about it in different, almost all disciplines of medicine for people who are of a certain age who remember how things were 30, 40, up to 50 years ago, and you kind of have that stuck in your head as the way things are today. You'd be very surprised at the way things go now.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we joke and say that, we're going to be doing drive-by stents where you just pull up, stick your arm out the window of your car and we place a stent that way. Because we've now been doing most of our angiograms via the radial artery, which is right there where you put your watch.
Oh, that's crazy. And outstanding. The progression in medical science is nothing short of stunning. Some heart disease facts here that I'm looking at from the CDC, Doctor. Heart disease, leading cause of death for men, women, and people of most racial and ethnic groups in the U.S. You got a person dying every 36 seconds in the U.S. from cardiovascular disease. Every year, about 655,000 Americans die from it. That's 1 in every 4 deaths. And the disease cost the U.S. about $219 billion every year from 2014 to 2015.
Correct. And those are the ones that we can actually count.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it, because there would be things that, you didn't know that's what happened, but that's indeed what happened. Coronary heart disease, most common type of heart disease, killed 365,000 people in 2017. Why does cardiac disease affect so many of us?
Well, it's a very unique process. We actually are, at our basic foundation, humans are nothing more than animals. So we all fall into the mammal category, which basically means we make cholesterol. So no matter what your diet is, no matter what, how active you are, we all have human DNA and animal DNA, and so we actually form cholesterol. Sometimes this process can be out of balance, and so we lead to plaque deposition, and we actually see that in autopsy specimens of infants that have plaque deposition in the beginning stages of plaque. But as we go through and we start eating a cheeseburger or two, or we, start watching a little college football on Saturday, and we're not as diligent with those things, and then humans love to smoke. So environmental exposures, tobacco and stress also lead to accelerating this plaque deposition process. That acceleration is not smart enough to say, I'm going to exclude the heart or exclude the kidneys or exclude the brain. It happens in all of our body systems. So to get back to the answer to that question, we're just animals, and we make cholesterol, but it's the lack of discipline and overall regulation down the line that leads to that process becoming imbalanced.
So this is one of these things, if I'm reading you right on this one, Doctor, that you can help yourself exponentially by doing some of the right things rather than, if it happens, it happens. I'm predisposed toward this sort of thing. What am I supposed to do?
Correct. Definitely, if you realize that you have those risk factors, not picking up a cigarette, there's no benefit to smoking unless you're on fire, and then if you're on fire, you should put it out. You should always try and get about 150 minutes of aerobic activity per week. So, I'm not a glorified athlete, but, I do wrestle with my boys and walk my dog on a regular basis. So I do think that if we just try and make some conscious changes, parking a little bit further, I'm not saying don't eat the steak, but don't eat the steak every day. Make some wise dietary choices. Try and overcome those genetics. And definitely, if you have risk factors and or symptoms, seek medical advice.
Now, you got the person going, well, I don't know about all those other things, but I try to get a little red wine in once in a while. I saw on TV that would help protect me from things. You're going to need to do a little bit more than that, aren't you?
Correct. A little bit of red wine, a little bit of dark chocolate. Celebrate those holidays and birthdays with, some heart-healthy things. And I know we're on the air, but those red wine and those celebrations lead to other aerobic activity, which I do say counts as aerobic activity.
Oh, I'm glad I'm old enough to know exactly what you meant by that. That's outstanding. So how do we manage and when we treat, if we have this sort of problem, what's the mindset that let's go with the average person should adopt?
Yeah, so the average person should definitely have a primary care physician. You should definitely know your risk factors and family history, so getting your cholesterol checked on an annual basis. After you get up there in age, I tell people that next to your toothbrush, you should also have a blood pressure cuff, because you should spend more time at home than at the doctor's office. So get into the habit of checking your blood pressure. And then the other thing that I've also recently encouraged a lot of people to do, and most of my patients have this, is with wearable technology, the iWatch, the Fitbit, the GoPro, Samsung, all these wearable devices actually serve as reminders to help you get active. If you are able-bodied, you should get about 10,000 steps on average per day. So wear your watch, use it to track your sleep and your activity levels. So use that technology from your watch, your phone, all these things that we have now incorporated into daily life other than just for decorations.
And walking is one of those things that getting up and moving and getting those steps, that's the important thing. It's really logging the steps, not how hard you pound it. So for people to think, well, I got to get out and jog, I got to get out and run, it really isn't a matter of getting out and jogging and running. It's a matter of just being ambulatory, isn't it?
Correct. And sitting is the new smoking. So getting up from your desk, walking around for, 5-10 minutes on an hour while you're at work, that way you're not at your desk constantly. Getting up, like you said, just at some point during the day, and realizing that you're moving, because there are lots of times that we are sitting still for, endless hours and we don't realize it, and the damage that we're doing to our body.
Yeah, the sedentary lifestyle.
Correct. And like you said, walking is a great form of aerobic activity. Running is not for everyone. Some people don't know how to ride a bicycle. Some can't swim, but we all know how to walk.
And you made a great point that you get out there and you walk the dog around. We've got ourselves a couple of nuclear powered Weimaraners who require a lot of movement. And I got to tell you, ever since we got those dogs, my step count has probably doubled.
Yeah, you got to be careful which dog you get. Get the right one that fits your personality. But Weimaraners are a great breed of dog, very active, and if you love them. And I'm happy that your dogs get you out there. I actually tell some of my patients to go and adopt a dog from the pound. Save a life, and you'll end up saving your own.
That's a wonderful way of looking at it as well. For those who are just joining us, we're spending a little time with Dr. Montoya Taylor. He's an interventional cardiologist at Mercy Health. Mercy Health's cardiac rehab center on Rockton was just certified by an industry leader. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that basically means that there are several different accreditation organizations that one can go through, the ACC, American College of Cardiology, American Heart Association. They all will go through and have their own accreditation process. But we went through and did a very rigorous analysis of our data, our processes, because every place you go to for rehab is not necessarily good rehab. Just like if you go to a restaurant, they may not be approved by the local food board, but they're serving food. So our cardiac rehab organization at Mercy Health, located on our Rockton campus, went through a very rigorous review, data analysis, patient safety standards, and basically made sure that we were counseling patients and helping them meet their metrics and their goals, not just showing up, but actually having patients progress to the next level to prevent them from coming back to my cath lab and having to get new stents. So we're actually improving survival.
That's outstanding, which is the name of the game across the board. When you were going to bottom line everything, improving survival is what you're all about.
Correct. That is what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep people out of the hospital and dying from other issues other than cardiovascular issues.
Yeah. Or you can try just not to. Do what you can. Eat a lot of oatmeal, get a lot of steps. Now, for just going back to the steps for a second, you said 10,000 steps, which, I've heard time and time again. That's what your daily goal should be. Is it one of those that, two aspirin are going to take care of this? Maybe I should have 4 or 6. 10,000 steps will cover it for me. Maybe I should try to hit 30,000 steps. Do we get to a point of diminishing return or go for it?
Well, diminishing return, not really. Your body does get conditioned to it. So after you start hitting more plateaus, you got to start letting the rest of your body know, okay, I've now gotten in my average of 10,000. I've gotten used to that. I now need to take it up a notch. So you do get some diminished return, but it still is protective overall. So I'm not saying that if you start at 10,000 in 5 years, you got to be at 20,000, but consistency is the name of the game, more so than that diminishing return.
Okay, yeah, get out there and move around, I think is the bottom line here. Doctor, how do people get in touch with you to make an appointment?
Well, there are several ways. One, if they have a primary care doctor or a physician, they can easily just have that person reach out and make a referral to our office. The other way is they can just simply call our, I forget the number.
It's Googleable.
It's Googleable. And just if they can just show up here at the Mercy Health. But I think the number is 815-971-2000. But if they Google it, it would definitely pop up.
Outstanding. Well, I hope a lot of people take advantage of it. You're obviously a wonderful doctor and a really cool guy to talk to. I've learned a lot from this, and I appreciate you carving time out of what's a really busy day, Doctor.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for doing all that you do and helping, not just play music and talk about non-survivable things, but I think that the fact that your station is committed to helping the community, educating the community, and therefore making everyone stay more safe is also important. We're all in this together.
Yeah, we really are. Doctor, thanks for your time. Have a terrific day.
Okay, you too.
There's Dr. Montoya Taylor, interventional cardiologist at Mercy Health.